Alright, so I'm going to be dealing with a problem on this Nord stage 2. And the problem is this G sharp key over here. If you play the others, you can hear that the velocity sensitivity is fine, but this one, no velocity sensitivity. And I've checked the rest of the keyboard, it's only that one. So she's going open, she's going to get fixed. Right, so I've released 1, 2 screws on this side and the same 2 on the opposite side. All the screws running down the back, just these upper screws, and then 17 screws underneath. So all the screws that you see underneath have to be released, but not the feet. You leave the feet on, but the rest of the screws are all released. There's 16 down the middle, and then there's one up in the center over here that holds the top section to the bottom plate. So now this should come off, but I can't do it with one hand, so you'd have to wait for my two-handed approach. And there it is, these 2 ribbon cables, 1 and 2, attached to the control boards here and here, and then the entire top assembly comes away very nicely. That's where it was holding to the bottom panel. So that's nicely out of the way. And now I can get a look at, this is first time I've ever opened a Nord keyboard. So this hammer action is quite a wonder to behold. It works just like a piano's hammer action system. Quite incredible. Just to get that real piano keyboard feel. Now it was this G sharp over here that was causing the problem, and of course my luck, it's the one right underneath all of this mechanism over here. There's the G sharp in question, and then yeah, well, this box is in the way, so that's probably going to have to get out of the way for me to get to the hammer action, maybe. But I think I might be able to pull the keyboard out now as well. So let me just reconfigure here and I'll be back. Alright, so what we have on the left side is 2 ribbon cables coming out, connecting to 2 connectors. So I've marked them, and I know how they go. They go back in the same sequence. And then we have in the middle 3 ribbon cables. Now I've released all of them. The 2 wide ones I've released where they go down into this PC board at the back over here. It's not focusing nicely, but down in there. And then the center one I've released on the keypad side. So now I can safely remove the keyboard assembly, because the problem is going to be, as I say, with this, it's this one here. This action over here in the switching assembly. Now apparently this key can lift out according to the internet, and I'll get onto that, but I'm going to take it out separately so I can get in there and give it a good clean. But this will not come away. Okay, I've removed the key assembly from the rest of the pan, and now if you can see down inside there is the circuit board where the little contacts are, and these contacts are where the velocity sensing takes place. There's a first and a second contact, so it measures the time from when the keyboard begins to, or the key begins to travel downward to when it hits the bottom stop, and then it measures that velocity at which the key was struck to come up with velocity sensitivity. And it looks like the second key, the second contact, is where the problem lies. So now it's going to be a matter of getting to the board, which I do not know how to do quite as yet. And then once I've gotten to the boards, I can do the cleaning of the key contacts. So let's get a look at that. Okay, I've exposed the section of the contact pad that is in question, and one of these around here is a little dirty. That's got to get cleaned. So how did I get to it? It's very simple. You grab the key, push it down, and then you just pull it back, and then it disengages at the back, and then you can lift it out. So putting it back is a simple matter. You also just come with your key, put it back in, and you push it forward so it clicks in place. And I'm trying to do this one-handed at the moment, which really doesn't work nice, but it's actually quite simple. There we go. Let's click back in. Now there's a lot of grease on here, so you want to have a rag ready just to wipe up any gunk, any grease as it comes up from the keys. And when you're done, you're going to want to wipe it up again. So there I've got all my keys set up there. They're all numbered, so it's actually very easy to put them back. You can have a look here. If you have a look from this, here you can see the C2 key. And then A, B, C, so on. Sorry, that's a G, G2. Anyway, you can see that. And then the black keys are just numbered in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So quite easy to put back. 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why there's 2 3s there? Actually, well, for the black keys it doesn't really matter their numbering, because they all work pretty much the same. But I'll get them back together. So now down to the cleaning. So I've got to just lift this strip out of here. Now these strips, I know they're pretty nasty, because if you look at the little dimples down here, you can see those little dimples. What you're going to need afterward is you're going to need like I normally take a paper clip and fold it open, and then I use the sharp point of the paper clip to push these back down into their grooves where they should go out. And you can see it's lifted here. It's a pretty simple system, and it's very important, sorry, excuse my finger, it's very important that you do get these pushed back as well as you can. And you can see that on this one as well, there's a bit of an orientation. Yeah, it looks like it'll go back either way. It's always done in sections of 4. But we're going to lift this off and get a look at the condition of the contacts. And sometimes when you get this off, it's really difficult to tell whether they are dirty or not, because when you look at them, they appear to be quite fine. But the reality is no. There's going to be dirt there. And look at that one over there. I can actually see, you can see bits of dirt there. Try and get that into as clear a focus as possible. But that is what causes these issues. So it's there around the screw, which probably is exactly the joint that we have in question. So a cleanup of these keys will solve the problem here. Alright, so what I've done is got my tin of contact cleaner, and I've sprayed the tiniest bit onto this rag, and then used the rag to actually clean up these contacts and get them back into a pristine condition. And I'll blow them as well with some compressed air, and then the next step will be the cleaning up of the contact itself. This, you can't use a very aggressive agent to clean them. So I will use the contact cleaner again. I'll spray some more onto this rag, and then I'll rub each pair of contacts down, and you can see they have a definite orientation. So I have taken note of which side goes which way, and then I will compare them to the contacts, the neighboring contacts as well. And you can even see, look at this one over here, it's got a bit of gunk on it, so definitely some dirt got into these contacts. And so a cleanup will definitely sort that problem out. I'm going to do that off camera, because once again I'm filming with one hand, but really just a bit of contact cleaner on here, rub it up, dub, make sure that it comes out dry and clean, and then put it back. Alright, for safety's sake and to be sure, what I've done is I've pulled out another key on this side over here to get a look at the orientation of the rubber, because you can see that it's definitely got a kind of a polarity. There's only one orientation that is correct. So now I've got it laid in correctly. I've taken my paper clip, straightened it out, and this one has quite a nice thick end, so that now I can begin pushing this back in. And I'm going to demonstrate just one or two. And what you do is you line it up and you wiggle it, you line it up, and then you kind of wiggle it. You've got to find that little hole where it goes in, and you've got to very gently wiggle it until it pops in. Okay, and I'm going to continue and finish that, and then I'm going to have to come back and back it up by also putting in the smaller ones as well. And they're more difficult, but it is doable, just takes a bit of patience. So I'll come back when it's done, but there you can see the correct orientation and the procedure for getting this back in. I'll demonstrate another one for you. It's not too bad. It's a little bit easier when I'm not holding a camera, because it's easier to find the hole. There we go. And again there. Come on, down you go. There we go. Not too difficult. Anyway. yeah, I'll do the rest off camera. I just thought I'd show you, I discovered actually it's rather easy to get the little nipples in. What you got to do is just with a little, use your fingernail or even the tip of your finger and just massage it a little bit, and it actually goes in quite easily. The corners I find are a little bit more problematic because it's harder to line them up with the holes, but it is doable, and I'll get onto that as well off camera. But you can see that almost all of these guys now are nicely in place. These little corner jobs over here, it went in quite fine. As I say, you just find that little corner and the little massage the little nipple into the hole so that it holds up. These corners are more problematic. I'm going to have to do that off camera, but you can see the rest of it is all done. Really just using the back of my fingernail. Actually, I'm going to try something. So, guitar pick. Let's see how the guitar pick does for this. It could work quite well, I think. As long as I can get it into the right position. Because the guitar pick's kind of like a little fingernail. And yeah, I can see it will work, but it's going to need a little bit more persuasion from me. I'll do that off camera. But anyway, job's nearly done. So there we go, all back in place. Took a little bit of persuasion and persistence, but just gentle persuasion. No big hammers, chisels and things like that. And everything is back in place, nice and clean and ready to close up. Now, of course, if you were going to be diligent, you would probably say, hang on a minute, maybe I should do all of these. Well, you could do all of them. I'm not going to do it unless it's called on. Now, at least I know how it is done. It's not so problematic. And the close-up should be quick and easy. So let's get on with it. So there it's all put back together again. It's interesting to note that the black key is not really difficult to, it's not difficult to locate where they go back. They are numbered 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So some of them are a bit off, but mostly they were in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on going up. So that's no issue. And also in the locations where a black key falls, there is a black tab that sticks up underneath the location of that key, whereas where there's white keys, there's no black tabs coming up off of the assembly from underneath. So quite easy to orientate yourself. As long as you keep to the numbering system, you're all good. It's all good. So yeah, I'm ready to now close up and get it all back in, but that was actually not difficult. Very, very, very well thought out and very well constructed keyboard. You can see the quality throughout, quality of the circuit boards. Everything is really, really, really good. So yeah, hats off to Nord. They've done a fine job. This is definitely a different level of workmanship and engineering compared to cheaper keyboards. What's proven to be the most difficult part of the job has been these two ribbon cables, putting them back in. They need to be aligned really perfectly straight, and what I ended up using, which was really useful and helpful, was an angled long nose plier, so that I could come in from the side, line it up very carefully, and then they went in quite easily. I had to give them a little bit of a wiggle, and then they go back in. Other thing that's important is these two funny cables. I'm not even sure of the purpose of them, but these two cables that come in the side over here, once it's in, it's a good idea to just play these keys around the side and make sure there's no obstructions there. And now I can put the top on and we can give it a test. So, top panel's back on. It's not screwed in yet, but we wanted to just test it. And there we have it. So, velocity action is back and all is well. Thanks for watching.